Well, hello everybody. This is Miss Tibble, and I'm doing Kids in the Kitchen YouTube style. Okay, so today we're going to begin with, I'm actually going to be preparing the board for the Kids in the Kitchen 2 class period so that I can only do one video for y'all. But if you're in the Kids in the Kitchen 1, then you can disregard this first part, the planning part. Or you can watch and just learn something. So what we're going to do first, because y'all are still preparing for trying to make your own meal plan for your shop prep, the meal plan for your family. So I'm going to go ahead and plan 2 different things with you, but today we are actually going to be making potato canoes. And here's a fun fact, I'm actually making this for my kids' lunch today. So I am going ahead and they're going to be eating all of the stuff today. So today we're going to be making potato canoes, but I'm also going to be planning for a mini burger slider. So potato canoes, if you've printed off your recipe, and hopefully you maybe have read through it already and kind of gotten an idea what you would be needing to do. So I am starting with an already prepared baked potato, which is something that I've already told your parents about in the email that I sent. But you would have a baked potato that is already ready. I am actually using a baked potato that's left over from a group event that we had a week ago. So I am using the baked potato that I've already used, and I only need one because I'm only serving a smaller amount of people. I'm personally not going to be eating one of these today, so I've got one for my daughter and one for my son, and then my other daughter is not here. So I'm only going to be doing one, so I'm going to abbreviate some of the recipes. But I will get to how to prepare the potato in just a minute. But what you're going to be doing is looking through your ingredients first. Remember, we always look for our ingredients and see if there's anything that gives us a heads up or a clue as to something we need to do to the ingredients. So we need the potatoes, and they need to be baked already. So you need to leave time ahead. So bake ahead. I'm just giving you a prep note to be able to say this is something that needs to be already done when you are, or give yourself another 2 hours before you get started on the actual assembly of it. And then you've got sour cream, milk, and you can mark off the milk because I actually don't use that in my recipe. And then it says the butter that is softened. So that's another tip. We want to make sure that we have softened butter, because it will be a whole lot easier to mix in. All right, so now we've got softened the butter, and then we need grated cheddar cheese. So if you haven't bought grated cheddar cheese already, then you need to go ahead and grate your cheddar cheese. And then it says 4 strips of bacon cooked. So you need to make sure that your bacon is already cooked. Hopefully you guys can read this from there. And then 1/4 cup chopped green onion. So you want to chop your veggies. Okay, so those are the steps that we're going to do ahead of time. And obviously I already have this done, and my potato has cooled and been in the refrigerator. And it's actually a little bit easier to scoop out that way. So if you want to go ahead and make sure that your potato is baked ahead of time and then refrigerated, that would be helpful. All right, so let's get started a little bit. I'm going to come back to the mini burger sliders in just a few minutes to kind of help you see how we do this, and then I would show you how I would layer on the burger sliders at the same time. So I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see, all right? Okay, so as you can see, I have my station all set up for you guys. Here is my potato that has already been baked. When you are preparing your potato for baking, what I like to do, now there's many quicker options to do this, but a really good baked potato is best done in the oven. So you want to get a piece of foil about this size. It's just enough to wrap the potato. And then I usually like to drizzle a little bit of olive oil all around it. And if you are really wanting to step it up a notch, you can put a little bit of kosher salt on the outside. I don't know if you've ever eaten at Red Lobster, and they always do that. It's a really fun part of it that makes the outside of it really nice and salty and tasty. And it crisps it up a little bit. So, but I'm not going to be doing that. So drizzle a little bit of olive oil, and then you want to use a fork or a knife to poke the potato, because it builds up steam inside the potato, and if you don't have a steam hole, you will have an exploded potato. So you're just going to poke the outside of your potato, just like that, but mine's already baked, so it's going to be a little bit harder because it'll be a firm potato. But then you're just going to wrap it up, both sides tucked in, and you can put it in a baking dish, or you can just put them straight on the rack in your oven. Your instructions say for you to do it about an hour and 15 minutes, and it gives you instructions to do it at 400 and then reduce the heat to 350. But that part's already been done for us today. And if we were in class, I would have already had that done for you too, because we don't have an hour and a half to waste to wait for the potatoes to get ready. So I'm just going to take this out of the foil packet now. And what we're going to do is lengthwise the potato. We're not going to go this way. That would be crosswise. But we're going to go lengthwise on the potato. All right, and we're going to do the bridge. Okay, the bridge holds it nice and still. And then hold your knife the appropriate way. Now, if you're in Kids in the Kitchen 1, if the parents are okay with you using a sharp knife, that's fine. If not, get permission, or you can use a butter knife as well, like we've been doing, but you will have to give it a little bit more of a sawing motion like this. And if it's already baked and put back in the refrigerator to cool off, then it will be a little easier for you to cut. You will need to saw quite a bit, okay? So you're just sawing like this. I'm going to use a sharp knife though, because it's going to be nice and smooth, one big slice, okay? Don't forget, if you are home and you're doing a whole lot of cooking, make sure that you're practicing all of your knife skills, holding the knife the correct way, not with the finger out, not way back here at the end, but holding it like we have been taught in class, okay? With a nice firm grip and the thumb on the side, hand on the top, elbow up like this, okay? So that you have enough pressure and you can control the knife very well. All right, so now I have 2 pieces of potato. And so I'm going to use a spoon, and I'm actually going to go backwards a little bit and prepare all of my toppings that we talked about on our Plan Shot Prep. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. There was bake ahead potato, ding. We want the softened butter. I actually have the softened butter right here. And we are going to chop up our bacon that has been pre-cooked, and I am going to chop up my green onions. And then I'm going to have it here on my plate for grabbing when we're ready. Okay, so I'm just going to take my bacon. It's quite crispy because I really enjoy crispy bacon. And I'm just going to crush it with my fingers. It says 4 strips for 4 potatoes. I am using 4 strips for 1 potato because we like bacon. So if you really want a lot of bacon, then you can do that. And it's not working for me to do it with my hands, so I am using the knife. I'm using that hand on top to put a little bit of pressure on it, and then I am rocking down, just like we practiced in class. Now, if you are in Kids in the Kitchen 1, you do probably still need to go ahead and just rip it with your fingers, unless you are using a sharp knife at home. Hopefully we'll be able to get back together, and this is the time period that I will be teaching you how to use a sharp knife. So I'm going to include a video here or there to get you ready for using the sharp knives. But I'm going to finish this off with my knife. Make sure your fingers are up in that upward position so we don't, by chance, get anything caught underneath the knife. Nice, good knife control and skill. All right, I'm just going to scoop this up and put it on my plate again for later, so that I have enough ready to go. And then I'm going to do my green onions. I am going to go ahead and slice them all together. Kids in the Kitchen 2, you can use your butter knife, just like we've done at class before. Sorry, Kids in the Kitchen 1, I'm not sure what I actually said there. You're going to trim off the ends, the little root ends that have the furry hair on the end of it. That's the root. And then if there's anything that looks a little bit like wilted or dried out or rottenish, then you can trim that off and just pull it off. You can have to use your sawing motion to cut it into smaller bits. Try to get them little because some people might not like really big pieces of onion in their potato. We enjoy this. I'm going to use the big knife now, and I'm going to do the rest of these all together. Okay. Now, let's see if we can remember our tips here about sliding, not chopping. Okay, we're actually slicing through. So watch how I rock through. I keep it on the tip and then slide down through. Keep it on the tip, slide down through. I am using the claw at the back, and I'm slowly moving my fingers back as they get closer to the knife. You can make sure that your knuckles are guiding you. This is a really good time to be practicing these skills at home. You will probably go slower. We also like a whole lot of green onion in our food. So I'm doing quite a bit of green onion. These are the ones that you can make it your own. You can do as many as you like. The rest of those are a little bit wilted on the ends, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest of that away. And then I'm going to make these just a little bit smaller slices by running my knife back through it with that chopping motion. Remember, I say chopping, but it's actually that rocking motion that we've talked about. And then, now I've got everything prepped that I needed to prep. I also, the other thing we did not add to our list on Plan Shop Prep was to make sure that the oven was preheated. I will add that to my list right now. I'm going to put it right here at the top, preheat, because that is the one thing that needs to already be done. Okay, so preheat oven, and I do have that started already. So we are good to go. All right, now what you'll need is just a bowl. Okay, and you're going to take your potato and leave a slight edge around your potato just to hold the potato skin together. So we're making potato canoes. I don't know if I ever even said that, but we are making potato canoes, which is just a fun way of saying a twice-baked potato if you've ever had that before. So you're using the spoon and you're just kind of scooping it out. You can use other things like those little small scoops that we've used for making cookie dough if you want. I'm just doing something that's easy to grab, and most people have, well, pretty much sure that everybody has a spoon at their house. So if you can see, I've left a small rim around the potato just to hold it together, okay? But I'm putting the rest in my bowl, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put this back in my baking dish that I have already sprayed so that nothing sticks to the bottom, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other half, just scraping it out. If you, by chance, get into the skin of the potato and it rips, which happens often, and it's okay, like you dug too deep, or it just rips because it's just a little bit too, I've got one piece right here that's about to rip, if you can see that from here. So I'm going to try to be very gentle with it. But if it does rip, like this is ripped a little bit on the side too, if it does rip, it's okay. You're about to kind of glue it back together with all the stuffing inside. So just don't worry about that. Okay? Now if you were doing 4 potatoes at the same time, you would have a whole lot more goop in here. But we're only doing the 1 potato this time just so that you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. Alright? So I'm going to take a fork and I'm just going to mash up that inside of the potato pulp. The back side of my fork, I'm kind of pressing down. And then I'm going to add in all of those ingredients. And if you'll notice in your instructions, hopefully you've read those through, then you'll notice that it says for your cheese and for your bacon and for your green onion, you're not adding it all into this mixture because you're gonna reserve some to just kind of have some on the top. It's gonna be look a lot nicer when you have that on the top, okay? So, there we go. Now we're gonna add in, now the recipe calls for bigger, more ingredients that I'm going to use, or a bigger amount of ingredients that I'm going to use, just because I only have the one. Ooh, that dropped that. So I'm gonna just kind of guesstimate a little bit on the sizes and the amounts that I'm going to be using. But you need 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna do just a big old slice right here. Okay. Of butter. And then it calls for a ½ cup of sour cream. I don't need near that much, so I'm gonna do about a couple tablespoons of that. And then go ahead and put in some of your cheese. I'm going to use the pre-grated kind. And it called for about, what does it say, a cup. You know how I feel about cheese, so we can make that a little bit more if we want to. And some of your bacon and some of your green onions. Okay, I'm just eyeballing that part. All right, if you want to not have the bacon, you can get the bacon that is already prepared, the bacon bits, but don't get the fake ones. Get the ones that say real bacon bits because they're much better. The other ones are imitation bacon bits and they're not so yummy. And then I'm just gonna kind of smash all this together. And then, because this is not in your recipe either, but I want to make sure that we are seasoning well. You use your own thought because you are the cook. I'm gonna add some salt and pepper to mine, okay? I even sometimes will jazz this up and I put some dry ranch or the ranch already mixed up dressing instead of the sour cream. So you can make this whatever you want it to be. Obviously we're making it kind of like a baked potato, but it's going to be all baked together in there and get nice and gooey and oozy, and it'll be all baked in there, okay? All right, so now I've got my potato canoes that are going to be holding the rest. And I'm going to scoop up all of this filling and put it right back in, okay? And kind of smear it in and push it down into the bottom, kind of half and half. So you kind of have to eyeball the amounts to make sure that they're kind of all equally. And then I like to mound mine up just a little bit. Oop, see, I ripped it. So I'm going to kind of hold it like this so that I can glue it back together with my filling. All right. All right, now remember we saved some of those toppings, some of the green onions and some of the bacon to put on top. Obviously, if you were doing 4 potatoes, you would end up with 8 potato halves. So you want to make sure that you have a big enough pan for that. I'm going to put this in the sink. Okay, now, they're rocking and rolling. Okay, I'm going to put some some bacon on top and just kind of press it into that potato on top. And some green onion. I may not use it all. That's okay, I like to have leftover stuff to put on a salad. Okay, there we go. And then the cheese also. We want some cheese on top. So I'm gonna just kind of sprinkle it all on top and just pat it on. Now it is ready to go in the oven, and it cooks for about 15 to 20 minutes. So obviously, I will have to come back to you in a minute and show you what it looks like baked, and you can just be jealous that we're eating it today and you're not, unless you decide to cook with me. So I'll be back in just a minute.